Why is she coming here? Jungkook's voice echoed through the luxurious living room, frustration dripping from every word. He ran his hand through his dark hair, his jaw clenched tight as he faced his mother. I'm already fed up with this engagement nonsense, and now I have to see her every single day. Mrs. John sighed, her elegant features showing a mix of patience and determination. Jungkook, please try to understand. Not only seeing, a confident voice interrupted from the doorway. You have to bear me every day. Jungkook spun around, his eyes widening as they landed on the figure standing in the entrance. You? There you stood, leaning casually against the doorframe with your luggage beside you, a smirk playing on your lips. Your hair was slightly tousled from the long flight from London, but your eyes sparkled with mischief and challenge. Wine? A squeal of delight pierced the tension as Sia, Jungkook's younger sister, rushed past him and threw her arms around you. You finally came? I'm so happy. I missed you so much. You hugged her back warmly, your expression softening. I missed you too, Sia. You have grown so much. Jungkook crossed his arms, his eyes dark, narrowing. What are you doing here? Jungkook, why are you speaking like that? Mrs. John's voice held a note of warning, but you raised your hand gently. Mom, wait, I'll handle him. You turned to face Jungkook fully, that infuriating smirk returning to your face. I came to watch the monkey dance on your face. I heard monkeys dance very well, especially on faces like yours. Monkey dance? Jungkook's eyebrow twisted, his pride clearly wounded. Sia burst into laughter, clutching her stomach as she doubled over. Oh my god, Wine, that's so hilarious. Jungkook shot his sister a serious look, his expression dark and warning. Sia immediately stopped laughing, though her lips still trembled with suppressed giggles. Mrs. John shook her head with a small smile, clearly used to your bickering. Come in, Wine. You must be exhausted from your flight. She turned to her son, her tone leaving no room for argument. Jungkook, take her luggage to the guest room. I'm not a servant, he muttered, showing his hands into his pockets and looking away stubbornly. Really? You pulled out your phone, scrolling through your contacts with exaggerated slowness. Appa, let me just call. Fine. Jungkook snatched the handle of your suitcase before you could finish dialing, his movements sharp with irritation. He hauled you towards the stairs, muttering under his breath about annoying guests and unfair families. You and Sia exchanged glances before bursting into laughter, the sound of his annoyed grumbling only making it funnier. The next morning, sunshine streamed through the windows of the John household as you descended the stairs, dressed in your new school uniform. The navy blazer and plaid skirt felt foreign after your London school's uniform, but you had to admit it looked good. Mr. John looked up from his newspaper as you entered the dining room. Good morning, Wine. I trust you slept well. Yes, Appa, thank you. Jungkook was already at the table, picking at his breakfast with clear disinterest. He didn't even glance up when you sat down. Jungkook, Mr. John said, keeping his tablet aside with deliberate care. From today onwards, you will take Wine to school with you every day. She is new and doesn't know the area yet. Jungkook's fork clattered against his plate. What? You heard me. It's already decided. Fine. Jungkook agreed, though his tone was anything but enthusiastic. His expression remained blank, but you could see the muzzle jumping in his jaw. The car ride to school was suffocatingly silent. Jungkook drove with one hand on the wheel, his eyes fixed on the road, while you stared out the window at the unfamiliar streets of Seoul. Sia, sitting in the back, tried to lighten the mood by chattering about school, but neither of you responded much. The history between you and Jungkook was complicated. You had grown up together since childhood. Your families being close business partners, what started as childish disagreements had evolved into a full-blown rivalry. Every family gathering was a battle of fields, night comments, and competitive challenges. So, when your families decided that an engagement would strengthen their business partnership and hopefully soften your relationship, both of you had been horrified. The small private engagement ceremony had been awkward and tense. You had both made it clear that this was purely a business arrangement, nothing more. The rings on your fingers felt like shackles rather than symbols of love. So, International High School was massive and intimidating. The modern building gleamed in the morning sun, and students in crisp uniforms streamed through the gates in groups, laughing and chatting. After Sia left for her class with an encouraging smile, you found yourself walking along through the crowded corridor trying to memorize the route to your classroom. The curious stares and whispers followed you. The new transfer student from London was clearly big news. Rastin thought about finding your locker. You didn't notice a person in front of you until you collided with them. Watch where you're going, a sharp voice snapped. You looked up to find yourself face to face with a girl who practically radiated hostility. She was beautiful in a calculated way, perfect makeup, perfectly styled hair, and a uniform that was tailored just a bit too fashionably. Three other girls flanked her, all wearing identical expression of disdain. Sorry, you said, simply moving to step around her. Sorry? The girl's eyes narrowed. Do you know who I am? I'm Ria, and you just bumped into me like some common. Look, you interrupted. Your patience already thin from the awkward morning. I said sorry. What more do you want? A written apology? Ria's face flushed with anger. How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know what I can do to you? Honestly, I don't care. You met her clear with your own steady gaze. Now if you will excuse me, I have a class to get to. As you tried to walk faster, Ria's hand shot out, aiming a slap at your face, but you were faster. Your hand caught her breast midair. Don't, you warned, your voice low and dangerous. Don't ever try that again. Stay away from me, and we'll have no problems. You released her breast and walked away, leaving Ria trembling with rage and humiliation. Her friends gathered around her, their voices a chorus of indignation. How dare she, one of them hissed. We need to teach her a lesson, another agreed. Ria's eyes glittered with malice as she watched you disappear down the corridor. Oh, I will. She has no idea who she just messed with. Your first few classes were uneventful, though you could feel eyes on you constantly. Being the new student was uncomfortable enough without the added whispers about your condition with Ria. Fourth period was literature, and as fate would have it, Jungkook was in the same class. He sat near the back, surrounded by a group of boys who seemed to orbit him like planets around the sun. His reputation as the school's bad boy was clearly well earned. Even the teachers seemed slightly nervous around him. You took a seat near the middle, trying to be inconspicuous, but halfway through the teacher's lecture on classical poetry, you noticed Jungkook's head drooping, his eyes closed. The teacher, Mr. Park, was in the middle of explaining metaphors when he noticed too. His expression tightened with irritation. Jungkook, Mr. Park called out sharply, if my class is too boring for you, perhaps you would like to teach it instead. A few students snickered, but most looked nervous. Everyone knew better than to laugh at Jungkook. Before you could stop yourself, you raised your hand. Excuse me, Mr. Park. The teacher turned to you, his eyebrows raised in surprise. That's fine. I was actually sleeping just now. You lied smoothly, keeping your expression innocent. I apologize. The jet lag from London is still affecting me. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. The classroom went silent. Every head turned to look at you in shock. Why would the new girl take the blame for Jungkook? Mr. Park's stern expression softened slightly. I see. Well, try to adjust quickly, Van, but next time I won't be so lenient. Thank you, sir. As Mr. Park returned to his lecture, you could feel Jungkook's eyes boring into the back of your head. You didn't turn around, keeping your gaze fixed on your notebook. From her seat near the window, Ria watched the entire exchange with growing jealousy. Her perfectly manicured nails dug into her palm. Jungkook was hers, or at least he was supposed to be. She had been trying to get his attention for months, and now this new girl shows up and he's been already connected to her somehow. This wouldn't stand. After 2 days, lunchtime arrived and the cafeteria buzzed with the casual chaos of hungry teenagers. You grabbed a tray and found a quiet corner table, content to eat alone while you adjusted to your new environment. You were halfway through your lunch when a shadow fell across your table. Hey, new girl. You looked up to find Ria standing there with her pose, all wearing smiles that didn't reach their eyes. We are playing truth or dare over there, Ria said, gesturing to a large table in the center of the cafeteria where several students were gathered. Want to join? Every instinct told you to refuse, but you could see the challenge in her eyes. If you backed down now, you would be marked as weak. Sure, he said, standing up with your tray. The game was already in progress when you joined the circle where your students had completed theirs, ranging from silly to embarrassing, and the atmosphere was charged with excitement. You noticed Jungkook wasn't anywhere in the cafeteria, probably skipping lunch to hang out elsewhere. Wine, Ria said sweetly, her smile predatory. Truth or dare, you answered without hesitation. You didn't give her the satisfaction of prying into your personal life with truth questions. Ria's smile widened. I dare you to do whatever Jungkook says. Whatever he commands, you have to obey. A ripple of surprised murmurs went through the group. Everyone knew about Jungkook's reputation for giving cruel dares to people he didn't like. Just last week, he made someone who had crossed him made walk on Hugh's ice bar. You hesitated, your mind racing. This could go very wrong very quickly. What's wrong? Ria thought. Scared? If you can't do it, you know the rules. You have to leave the school. That was the cafeteria dare rule. Refuse a dare and you're labeled as a coward and socially exiled. Fine, you agreed, lifting your chin. I accept. Ria's eyes gleamed with triumph. Someone get Jungkook, tell him he's needed in the cafeteria. 5 minutes later, Jungkook appeared in the cafeteria entrance, looking annoyed at being summoned. His hands were in his pockets, his expression bored until his eyes found you, standing in the middle of the gathered crowd. What's going on? He asked, his voice flat. Ria rushed up to him, her hand touching his arm in a familiar way that made your stomach clench with an emotion you didn't want to examine. Of course, he took his hand back and stepped away from her. Jungkook, we are playing truth or dare, and Wine here accepted a dare. She has to do whatever you say for the rest of the day. Jungkook's eyes flickered to you, something unreadable crossing his features. The cafeteria had gone silent, everyone watching to see what the bad boy would do to the new girl who had already crossed Ria. You walked towards him, stopping a few feet away. Your heart was pounding, but you kept your expression neutral. Let's get this over with. For a long moment, Jungkook just stared at you. Then, slowly, a smirk spread across his face. But it wasn't the cruel smirk everyone expected. It was something different, something that made your pulse quicken. Feed me, he said, simply gesturing to an empty table. The crowd gasped. That was surprisingly tame. You raised an eyebrow but complete. Following him to a table, he sat down, leaning back in his chair with that infuriating smirk still in place. You grabbed a nearby tray of food and picked up a piece of kimbap with chopsticks. Open, you said dryly. He didn't maintaining eye contact as you fed him. The cafeteria was in stunned silence. This wasn't humiliating. It is almost intimate. After he swallowed, Jungkook pointed to his lap. Sit here. Now the crowd really started whispering. This was getting weird. Ria's face had turned red, her face clenched at her sides. She saw enmity between you and thought he would treat you like others. You hesitated for only a second before sitting sideways on his lap, keeping your posture stiff and uncomfortable. His arm came around your waist automatically to steady you, and you tried to ignore the warmth of his body against yours. Is that all? You asked quietly so only he could hear. His eyes met yours, and you saw something flash in them. Was that mischief, anger, or something else? One more thing, he said, his voice low. His hand came up to your face, fingers gentle as they tilted your chin towards him. Kiss my lip piercing. The cafeteria erupted in shocked gasps and excited chatter. This was completely unexpected. Jungkook never showed this kind of interest in anyone. Your eyes widened. This would expose everything, but you could see the challenge in his eyes. And suddenly you understood he was angry with you for coming late to Korea and this was his punishment, but also his way of ending this game Ria was playing. You leaned in slowly, aware of every eye on you. Your lips brushed against the small silver ring on his lip in the softest kiss, lasting only a second. But Jungkook wasn't satisfied with that. His hand tightened on your waist, pulling you closer, and his lips captured yours in a real kiss. It was possessive, claiming an entirely for a school cafeteria, but also full of pent-up emotion that had nothing to do with hate. The cafeteria went absolutely. Phones came out capturing the moment. People were standing on chairs to get a better view. Jungkook, Ria cut through the chaos. She stormed towards you both, her hand raised to slap you. But Jungkook was faster. He caught her wrist, mid-swing, his expression turning cold and dangerous. He stood up, keeping you behind him protectively. Don't, he warned, his voice deadly quiet. Don't ever raise your hand to her. But Ria sputtered, tears of rage and humiliation streaming down her face. She is my fiancée, Jungkook announced, his voice carrying across the now silent cafeteria. Ryan is my fiancée and I love her, so I suggest you and everyone else stay away from her if you value your safety. The silence that followed was deafening. Then the cafeteria exploded with questions, excitement, and chaos. You tugged on Jungkook's sleeve and he turned to look at you. Your expression had softened, the usual defensive walls crumbling. Now, are you happy? You asked softly, stepping closer to him. You lost your anger on me. I'm sorry, Cookie. Because of school formalities, I had to come a week late. The paperwork took longer than expected. His jaw tightened, but his eyes betrayed his relief at your presence. A week? Why? You said you had come with me when we decided to move forward. You know how much I missed you? I know you said your hand finding his. I'm sorry, I'm here now. The crowd around you was still processing the revelation, but you and Jungkook were in your own bubble. Later that evening, after school had ended and the chaos had died down, you and Jungkook sat in his car in comfortable silence. Sia had gotten a ride home with a friend, giving you two some privacy. So you finally said, playing with the engagement ring you had hidden on a chain around your neck. That happened? Jungkook laughed, the sound genuine and warm, so different from his cold school persona. Yeah, guess we are out now. Our families are going to be so confused, you mused. They think we still hate each other. We did hate each other. Jungkook corrected, reaching over to take your hand. Until that night 6 months ago. You smiled, remembering it had been during a family gathering in London. Another argument had turned into a real conversation, which had turned into a confession. You had both been using hate to mask feelings you didn't know how to express. That night, everything has changed. We should probably tell them the truth, you said, that we are actually happy about the engagement now. Where is the fun in that? Jungkook grinned, bringing your hand to his lips. Let them think we're still enemies for a bit longer. Makes it more interesting. He laughed, leaning over to kiss him properly this time, without an audience. You are terrible. And you love it? He murmured against your lips. Yeah, I really do, Cookie. I really do. As the sun set over Seoul, you both knew that life had just gotten infinitely more complicated, but also infinitely better. The dare that was supposed to humiliate you had instead